This is very good.
Yeah, it is very good. They both are in their ways. I'm going to try it with compromise.
Now we're going to compromise between the two.
I think it should.
And then we'll leave it, because we've got plenty to do.
Well, we don't really.
You mean
the problem is we don't have plenty because of the tempo difference.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just been a question of making them. Both are good in their way. This last one was quite good, too, really. Albeit it lacks some of the contrast, it's quite good. Because it has certainly a great deal of spirit and it holds together.
It's quite good, but you wouldn't okay it.
I'd okay it.
Oh, well, let's go to the next piece. I got that out of you real easy.
No, I don't care.
That's one way of getting an okay. So now what are you going to do? Beethoven? Brahms?
Very funny.
Seriously, though, we do not have a great deal of choice. Obviously, we can fix that one note.
Oh, we fixed it.
But we don't have a great deal of choice. We couldn't go from one to the other of this at all.
We don't need to. But there are no clinkers except for that one note.
One note in each one.
In each one.
Yeah.
There are no clinkers. There's no problem in that way.
No.
It's either or. I mean, it's.
All right.
But I still think we can find a compromised version. In the meantime, I'm going to do a last movement now. Before I get tired.
Before you go back to this.
Then go back.
All right. Fine. After you're worn out as a control man, you get less money, you become a musical director. Because the only thing compensation you have is you can boss the guy that you were once
That's what you think.
doing, you know.
That's what you think.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think. I'm positive if I ask you to put in high end and he puts in low. He does what he wants anyway.
More on the clarinets.
But, all right. And he takes it off.
Listen, how do you feel about pictures?
Must I?
Well, we need them, yeah.
Don,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here today. Don't you think it'd be a good idea to get Glenn to at least put a scarf and some gloves on?
How about the
Are
gloves?
you kidding?
How about the gloves up on the piano?
Glenn, you know I never kid with you.
I've had quite enough of that sort of picture. We'll not.
They
No.
do it in
No.
England. It's good enough for England and AP.
Well, the English press is, the English press.
Well, if you get 21,000 pounds or whatever it is out, I don't see why you shouldn't grab it.
Yeah, that's
Rhapsody in Blue.
That's all
How about Clear the Moon? Every pianist studies Clear the Moon.
How about one of those reductions in Wagner?
Get back in the mood. We have to have tea. At least 5 minutes. At least 5 minutes. Absolutely.
In the 4 years since I've known Glenn, he's grown from a small town hick.
Just
I beg your
one doggone minute.
Well, I mean, after all, he was a kid that came out of Toronto, and I don't think you'd ever been out of Toronto, really, since I met you 4 years ago.
My dear sir, I had toured the Canadian provinces widely.
That's what I mean. You were a provincial hick.
He's gotten fatter, I'll say that much.
He's John Barrymore now, as you can see. I mean, obviously, he can act.
He used to have sunken cheekbones.
That's right. You see, the first thing that happened to Glenn was he came to us as a small boy with chicken feathers and straw in his hair. He could play the piano like a whirlwind, and he did his first piece that he did, he recorded for us, which no one had ever done, the Goldberg Variations, which was on the bestseller list. And here it was a bestseller list with an unknown, as I say, really a small-town boy who came out of literature.
Well, there's something slightly exotic about coming out of the Canadian snows, I admit.
Something coming out of Canadian woods, you know. I mean, they expect you to have a Mountie uniform or something, but you bring the same intensity. And I attribute this mostly, Glenn, to something you said before, which is very interesting, on why you don't live in New York City. I think that it's most important for an artist, and you are one of the very few artists, and I know a great many, that realize the tremendous value of getting out of this rat race or whatever you want to call it. It's a great
Curiously
thing,
enough, when
actually.
you get in the country, your whole relation to music, changes. You know, it's. I remember when I was a kid, I always, for some reason, associated the New York Philharmonic broadcasts, which we used to hear in Canada on Sunday afternoons at that time. I used to associate them with great vast fields of snow, white and gray, because when I was a kid, we used to always go up north in the country for weekends, and usually about 4 o'clock in the afternoon when the Philharmonic would be on, we'd be on our way driving back to Toronto. And during the wintertime when they were on, driving along on a usually gray and a sort of endless vista of snow, frozen lake, horizon, this sort of thing. And Beethoven never sounded as good, you know, it was sort of the original cinema scope. It was I shouldn't presume to analyze, but I don't think you have quite the same psychological strain of living here as I would, because it always occurs to me that the most difficult thing for a musician particularly, when New York is to a certain extent representing debut town, you know, it represents the most dangerous,
well,
the place where one fights for one's career.
It's the trap of the world.
And if one has to combine that with it being hometown, these are, because for most people, and certainly for me, the most difficult place to play in is one hometown, you know. I go through agonies when I have to play in Toronto. New York bothers me almost not at all, but Toronto is sheer hell.
This is going to help your performance, I trust?
It's going to...
Make a more fluid one, I'm sure.
It's going to liquidate the errors. That was pretty bad, wasn't it?
Pretty awful. I know the performance will be 100% better. Here we go. Italian Concerto, first movement, take 2.
Third movement, what are you talking about? We're doing a third this time.
Want to do the third movement? I'm sorry. I thought you still wanted to work on the first.
How long is it? Maybe we have to reload?
No, we don't have to reload. It's 24 minutes. Third movement, take 1.
Even with the highest level of skill and patient study of a composition, it takes days of work in the studio before Gould is satisfied he has recorded his best.
It's difficult. It's
very difficult. But as you know in the record, you have to exaggerate a contrast, really, more so than you do in public.
The other thing to do would be to do a whole second half, starting here. Because that's a marvelous stroke to get that, and we didn't get it at all.
Yeah, it's coming through.
Wait a minute. Oh, it's a question of how far forward you sit on it. That's what does it. Yeah. You sit at the front, it does. Well, let's try anyway, see what happens.
Glenn, you know you can read the Glenn. Now this is the difference in Glenn Gould.
In 4 years.
In 4 years, when Glenn first came in here, not only didn't he care about the financial page, he couldn't read the financial page.
Right.
This morning at 11:15, he's not only able to read the financial page, he's able to find out what the value of the Canadian dollar is. Right now, I'll caution you that this should be a straight piano solo without vocal obligato. Beautiful. Bob, would you play that one back, please, this last take?
Say hard.
Will you play this take back, please, this last one we did? How do you feel?
It wasn't bad.
No, I think it was a good job, yeah. Might be
Got it. I don't know.
take 8, take 5, take 8. Good tempo.
It's a nice leanness about it. It isn't too pushed.
No,
It's too pushed.
that's good. Good contrast. Watch your head and the mic. Very good.
And this time it didn't drop.
Yes. So far we're covered.
Wonderful.
That's a wonderful effort.
It's one of the most awkward things in Bach, you know.
It's
They
hard.
really are.
How long did you work on this? How long have you been playing this piece?
Played it for the first time I was about 13, I think, something like that.
So long.
But I've never really played it in public because I don't like it very much.
I mean, you dropped it.
I
So you
just
played
played
it
it, I
and then
don't.
went back.
Well, yeah, I
Pick it
played
up.
it from time to time, but every 3 years I take it out again and try to restore enthusiasm. But
Good.
I think this is it. It's extremely good.
Got it.
We're finished.
Done. Good.
Okay.
Great. Good take.
We can
Now what do you want to do?
Quit? Quit. Of course.
Finished. Okay, Bob, wrap it up. Knock it off, Fred.
That was a very good week, I must say.
Yeah.
Easier than most.
I don't know why. Now, when do we come back?
3 weeks, I think.
3 weeks.
We'll do another one. Conventions.
And we want to check the B-flat partita.
B-flat partita and the Uzel de Sima can do another